And we will upload the webinar onto the Champion Green YouTube channel in due course. You can ask questions using the chat box. And as always, a big thank you to the Champion Green and Kilkenny Design webinar team. With the lifting of significant COVID-related restrictions last month and nearly all remaining restrictions on Monday, 28th of February, there's a strong sense that economic and social life is returning to something approaching normality. Retail sales are recovering, and sectors based around hospitality and the experience economy have thankfully reopened. But we know that many businesses are struggling to get back on their feet. Increased cost of doing business on top of inflationary pressures, staff shortages, and legacy debt from business closures immediately come to mind. It's a new year with new challenges, and our expert panel has practical advice on the supports available and the solutions to consider to get your business back on track. I'm delighted to be joined this morning by Duncan Graham, Managing Director of Retail Excellence, and Tony Dignam, CEO of the Agile Executive. First, I'll come to you, Duncan, and let's start off with a bit of good news. From Monday, people can exercise their own judgment on the use of masks in retail settings, schools, and on public transports, and nearly all of the other remaining COVID restrictions will be lifted. That is indeed good news, isn't it, Duncan?
Yes, and a long time coming, Sven? Do you know what date it was that we started wearing masks in retail settings? It was the 10th of August 2020 when we first started wearing them, so 18 months ago now. And you know, it's become something that we've kind of got very used to, and I think we got used to it pretty quickly in the whole. I mean, I know there's been the issues of anti-maskers and all that sort of thing, but generally speaking, I think that you know, the compliance with mask wearing has been exceptional throughout the whole pandemic, and it's probably one of the reasons why we are where we are today. I think, look, this is another transition on Monday, and I think in some respects it's a very welcome transition. You know, I remember the Taoiseach when he made the last announcement talking about the fact that we can smile again, if you remember that comment that he made. And yet, the reality is I had a wry smile on my face then, because smiling to people in retail settings is something we've not been able to do for the last 18 months. And I think that will be a very welcome change. I think it will be a very welcome change for people that are hard of hearing, and elderly people in particular, who have really struggled over the last 18 months. You know, just simply communicating when you're both wearing a mask and there's a perspex screen between you has been really difficult. So I think all of that is positive. I think customer service will, you know, start to come back to some semblance of normality. It's not right for everybody though, is it? And I think you know, there clearly will be a lot of people out there who are quite concerned about this next step, and you know, will want to wear masks, be they shop workers or be they customers. And I think the transition, you know, might be more gradual. So it will be interesting to see on Monday, you know, just how many people are not wearing them in retail settings and how many people still choose to do it. And, you know, I think it's really what people want to do. They have options, and how comfortable do they feel? And I think that's the space that we're now moving into. But certainly, you know, positive move.
You mentioned that it is a very welcome move, and also that there was such a high level of compliance, but in the circumstances where there was non-compliance, at least this removes the pressure of the retail staff to have to address this in a shop and in a real life scenario. As you say, every silver lining has a cloud. Challenges remain in the sector. And what are the key issues that the retail sector is facing at the moment and going forward?
Yeah, look, there are always challenges, aren't they? And I think we'll start this then by saying, you know, you've almost got to go back 12 months, haven't you, in terms of where we were 12 months ago. We weren't open, or at least non-essential retail wasn't open. We were trading online. So, you know, 12 months on, we've had, well, since the 17th of May, we've had a relatively, I'll use that term advisedly, but a relatively trouble-free period, apart from the blips that we had certainly after Christmas, where there was clearly some very high absence rates and you know, people off, close contacts and all that sort of thing. We've been able to trade, and that's all very much a positive. In terms of some of the challenges, I think, you know, first off, in terms of the financial challenges, I'm sure Tony will pick up on some of this later, but you know, the removal of the wage supports, you know, it's almost like we're having our crutch taken away from us. Those wage supports, if you look at the TWSS right at the very beginning, that then morphed into the EWSS, you know, that has really kept businesses afloat over the last 2 years. And I think the removal of those wage supports, you know, in the next month or so are going to be, you know, that's going to be an interesting move for business. You know, how many will struggle after that remains to be seen, but certainly that's a challenge. Simple things like, you know, the warehousing of tax. You know, where is that tax? Has it been? Is it sitting there ready to be paid, or are businesses now going to struggle in terms of cash flow to get that money paid? So, you know, and what's going to work with revenue in terms of the payment plans on that over the next, you know, couple of years? How are we going to pay that down? That's going to be a real challenge for many businesses, I'm sure. And then on a broader scale, you know, we've heard about it. We read about it in the news all the time. We are really short of people. We are really short across pretty much all sectors of industry. There's a people shortage, but particularly in retail and hospitality. You know, those businesses that, if you take retail, for 9 months out of 18 months, non-essential retail had its doors shut. Many of the people were claiming the PUP during that period of time. Some of them, very many of them, decided to change careers. Many of them were non-nationals that perhaps returned to their home country, or they were decided to move back into full-time education, or simply move into a different career. So big churn in terms of the workforce. And I think, you know, we still have significant staff shortages. Many of those shortages in quite skilled positions. I'm thinking, you know, pharmacists, opticians, butchers, people like that. You know, those are sort of some of the big shortages that are coming up at the moment. So there's a real big issue for business at the moment around attracting and retaining talented people. You know, I know a lot of retailers that I'm talking to, particularly HR people in retail, that are saying now it's really around the benefits, not just the salary package, it's around the benefit package that we need to put around that in order to keep people employed in retail. And we also need to change its perceptions, Sven. I mean, you know, retail has this view out there in many people that it's a sort of, you know, stand on your feet for 8 hours a day, serving grumpy customers. You know, that we've got to get rid of that whole thought process. I mean, because there's many of us know it's a fantastic career opportunity. I mean, I've been in it for far too many years now at this stage, but, you know, my career's gone off in very many different directions. So it's a really great career opportunity for many, and lots of things that are emerging, like e-commerce and you know, logistics that weren't in place a few years ago. So there's all of that side. So that's probably the biggest challenge that retail faces, and that we've got to get back on and solve. But then, of course, there's the cost pressures. You know, there's the cost pressures of supply chain. You know, people quoting, I think it was some guy I was talking to there a week or so ago who's saying it used to cost him, I think it was 4,000 or 5,000 to get a container of product from the Far East. And the last time he was quoted, it was 17,000. So, you know, some ridiculous supply chain costs, you know, regardless of things like Brexit. You know, Brexit is, you know, kind of something that now is faced by mainly food companies. We seem to have got round some of the other areas, but, you know, we've got massive supply chain costs throughout the rest of the world. We've got clearly massive energy costs issues, and that's only going to be worse by what's going on in Ukraine at the moment. The staffing costs that we've mentioned, and then inflation means that people have less disposable income. So, you know, again, that's going to cause its challenges. So margins very tight in retail, staffing very tight. We're looking to be having to pay people more to keep them. So, you know, never a dull moment, but, you know, I guess back to the point I made right at the very beginning, the flip side is we're trading, and, you know, businesses by and large had a pretty good end to last year. So, you know, we'll hope that we have a similar sort of run this year.
From the challenges to the opportunities, one of the things that we have observed during those months that felt endless is the shift to online and doing business online. What are the trends that you see now as we emerge from this pandemic. Is online here to stay? Do you have to go omni-channel, or are people switching back to in-shop only? What is it that you see?
Look, I think the future is what we described as phygital, isn't it? It's the mixture of digital and phygital. You know, if you haven't gone online yet as a retailer, then, you know, you're kind of going to struggle. If you look at some of the footfall numbers that are coming through, even though as we're seeing this recovery through January, you know, footfall numbers in most of our major towns and cities are still down around, you know, 11–12% on where they were pre-pandemic levels. Why is that? Because people are spending more time online. So, you know, customers have got lots of choice, and we need to look at that choice, and we need to make sure that we brand just as well online as we perhaps do in store, and vice versa. So, you know, there's a real molding of that. There's a real coming together of both physical and digital retail. And I think we have to consider, you know, where the purchase is made is maybe not where the purchase decision, you know, so where the actual purchase is made and the decision are made to buy, and maybe two different things. So it may be that, you know, what we have is people going into stores, trying product on, or looking at product, looking at how things are put together, you know, may then leave the store and make the purchase on their phone in the evening. So, you know, that whole mixture of physical and digital is what the future's about. And certainly one of the things that, you know, we've been pressing government for throughout the pandemic has been, you know, the need for more online supports. So the Enterprise Ireland online retail grants have been very useful. The reality is that, you know, there's a lot of those are still in play. A lot of that money still hasn't been drawn down and paid for yet, or the schemes haven't been paid for yet. But, you know, so there's more need for online grants to get businesses moving. And then, of course, you know, the other side of this is we've got Amazon coming down the tracks in terms of opening up a big facility out there in Baldonnel in the next few weeks. So that's inevitably going to create some disruption and some change. You know, but I think there's been that loyalty that shifted as Irish retailers have opened up their online capability. I think we've created that confidence around buying local, whether it be online or physically. And I think that's going to continue for, so it's going to be an interesting way that, you know, we're going to evolve in terms of Amazon versus local and physical versus digital over the next few years, I think.
Do you think this supporting local trend though is here to stay? Because many fear that people now are reverting to their normal shopping habits and will forget about all of the green jersey wearing support that was given to the suburbs and to local business communities. Is there a momentum that will help sustaining local businesses going forward?
Look, I think things like Champion Green have really helped to create that, you know, that whole piece around what is local business, what is local retail. And I think, you know, almost just shot in the arm, some of that was when the lockdowns, we were only traveling with what, 2 kilometers, and then it was 5 kilometers. And we were discovering things locally that we never really knew existed before, or we'd driven past. And I think that what we got a real sense of community spirit. We got a real sense of wanting to support the guy down the road who was just trying to do something and trying to make a living. And I don't think we're going to lose that very quickly. I think we're, you know, because actually the experience of going into those stores that were trying their damnedest to, you know, provide a fantastic service and to showcase products in the best possible way. I think we like that. I think we get a good feel about it. And I think that is going to be, it is going to remain. And I think the other thing that we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of people trying stuff. And I think pop-up shops and pop-up retailing will be something for the future. And, you know, but there's plenty of property out there, plenty of vacant property out there. And, you know, I think we're going to see landlords, you know, needing to offer those for new startups and things like that. So I think there's always going to be something interesting, something experiential. And I think, you know, that we're not going to lose the importance of shopping local. Yeah, I do think what we are going to see is that, you know, there's going to be transactional shopping, i.e. the weekly food shop, the weekly grocery shop probably will be done online. But I think that experience of going in and trying something on, of using all your senses when you're shopping, is not going to go away. So, you know, I'd like to think that, you know, some of the Irish retailers are some of the best in the world by far. You know, I did that when we did our awards back in October, November of last year. We went into some brilliant Irish retailers. So, you know, they are there, they're great, and I think we'll continue to support them.
So from mask wearing to the challenges coming out of the pandemic, the future of digital, and shop local is here to stay. Lots of interesting messages coming from you, Duncan. Thank you so much, and also for your support for the Champion Green initiative, which is here to stay too. This is an interesting program that we are currently planning for 2022, and watch out. The Champion Green website will be regularly updated, and watch this space. So Duncan, thank you so much. And as I said, any questions for Duncan, just keep them, put them into the chat box, and we pick them up as we go along. Moving on now to Tony Dignam, CEO of the Business and Financial Advisory Group, the Agile Executive. Duncan mentioned some of the supports that will no longer be there, and the need for supports in the digital space. What are the supports out there at the moment, Tony, and how should small businesses and retail businesses go about accessing them? So I believe you have a presentation for us, and I would be delighted to give the floor over to you now.
Great. Thanks, Sven, and thanks, Duncan. Let me just share my screen here now.
Yeah, we can see that now. That's great.
Okay. I suppose the first one I'd like to just encourage people to get involved in is SFA program, Mentors Work. I'm going to cover some of the grants that are available, but as part of that program, there's a masterclass covering hundreds of grants, because there are literally hundreds of grants available to businesses in Ireland. And one of our team has pulled all that together, and it takes about an hour literally to go through all of the various grants and supports that are available. So it's worth checking that out. But also as part of that program, Duncan mentioned things around the warehouse tax, you know, the impact of EWSS, TWSS going. I think it's really important as we come out of the pandemic that people put plans in place, really, particularly from a cash flow point of view, is to figure out, if you do have warehouse tax, is looking at a plan as to when and how you're going to be able to, you know, repay that money to the revenue, and be proactive and go back to them with a plan. And again, as part of that Mentors Work program, there are various workshops and training courses, including business planning, strategy planning. Again, and some of the grants I'll talk through, there's potential support that can help you develop that, but really important that you're proactive in looking at that, in looking at what impact the you know, the pandemic and things like Amazon coming on board. You've got to be thinking about what's the impact of those, so you've got a plan in place. So really good supports available through Mentors Work program, and that's a free program, so I'd really encourage people to get involved and sign up for that. Some of the grants, I mean, Duncan mentioned, you know, the importance of getting online for businesses, and there's two sort of key ones. There's with the local enterprise offices, there's the Trading Online Voucher, and with Enterprise Ireland, there's the Digitisation grant. The Trading Online is 50% up to 2,500. The Digitisation one is up to 9,000 fully funded. So obviously, depending on what category of business you fall into, if you're more than 10 employees, you'll be more likely in the Enterprise Ireland. If you're less, you'll be in with the local enterprise office. But whereas in the past, in particular in the retail space, businesses wouldn't have fallen into these categories. One of the things that I suppose COVID has driven a lot of businesses to being online, and that suddenly businesses have realized that they do have an international opportunity. So if you have those international opportunities and you're now selling, you know, to customers abroad, it opens up opportunities for you to be becoming an exporter, to becoming an Enterprise Ireland client. So possibly to be able to avail of some more of these grants and supports that are available. Again, within the local enterprise office, some of the key grants that are available: the priming and business expansion grants, the Microfinance Ireland loan scheme, and again, particularly useful for businesses if you were impacted by COVID. And the funding, if you go through the local enterprise office for a Microfinance Ireland loan, is 1% cheaper than if you go direct. So very cost effective and a good way maybe of getting some working capital into your business at a relatively low cost. Some additional supports available for businesses in the Dún Laoghaire area. It's a program that's been run by Dún Laoghaire Leo and local enterprise office. Is a financial so there's financial leadership and lean mentoring available. And again, particularly if you're looking to put a plan in place to help you see how you're going to see out COVID and you happen to be in that area, it's a really good way of getting support. That particular one is 80% funded by the council for the finance support, where you get a very experienced finance person to come in and just help you with your business and help you with your business planning. Just, you know, in talking about, so there's the champion green, but looking at green from another point of view, and again, Duncan and Sven mentioned, you know, one of the real challenges at the moment is the rising cost of energy. There's a huge number of supports available at the moment for businesses to tackle their energy usage. So obviously you got a knock-on benefit that if you're able to do something to reduce your energy usage, that's going to have impacts on your cost of doing business as well. So if you can reduce those costs. So Green for Micro is a program that's available for Leo. It's available for companies who fit the Leo profile, so up to 10 employees, and that's a free program. So again, worth understanding how you can engage and how you can get involved in the green from an environmental point of view, as well as the green from a Champion Green Ireland point of view. Another sort of one in the green space. So again, circular economy training for small businesses. So this is for Dublin City and Dún Laoghaire Down areas. It's funded by the Environmental Protection Agency. Again, it's key, you know, to be looking at your energy usage, how you can be more environmental. Customers as well are looking for this from businesses, and particularly if you're doing business with any larger organizations, corporates, government, need you to have an environmental or a sustainability strategy and to see what you're doing. So not doing this can close doors. Doing this and having a green strategy or environmental strategy can really open doors to you doing business with some of the larger corporates. Again, another innovation for circular economy, another program from the Environmental Protection Agency. So worth having a look and seeing what impact these can have and how these can help, you know, reduce the cost of your business, but also, as I say, open up opportunities. If you're investing in equipment that's energy efficient, there's accelerated capital allowances available. So instead of having to take those over an 8-year period at 12.5%, you can get the full write-off in the first year. So again, this one is through the SEAI. So worth having a look if you are about to invest in any equipment that's more efficient than equipment maybe you've had in the past. There's supports available to invest in that area. I mentioned the Enterprise Ireland, the Digitisation Voucher. Again, this is for anything to do with, I suppose, if improving your process around digitisation. It doesn't necessarily have to be around website development, but it can. But you know, certainly something that any business that fits the Enterprise Ireland profile should be availing of. It's a digitisation voucher. It's funded. It can be looking at the systems you're using. You know, can you be more efficient? Can you be using ERP? Can you be using CRM? So this covers costs of having somebody coming in and really helping you improve your how your business performs and how digital and automation can drive your business forward. And again, a number of really good courses, workshops in the Mentors Work program around digital and automation. So digital innovation, 50% of approved spend up to 150,000. The green and sustainable business. So again, huge amount of supports available in the green and environmental area. So it's really worth spending some time and getting back to one of those initial programs, getting a consultant to come in, you know, which is funded to come in and look at your business and see how you can do things more efficiently, how you can reduce your costs at a time when energy prices are going up. The Business and Financial Planning Grant, this has been a huge success for Enterprise Ireland and for Enterprise Ireland clients. This is a fully funded business plan. So in the Agile Executive, we've done about 80 of these business plans for Enterprise Ireland clients. It's really good, gives you that clear idea of where you're going as a business, but also that business plan can then provide the foundation for getting funding, whether that's working capital fund that you need in your business, whether it's investment, whether it's loans. So there's lots of funding available, and having that really good business plan helps you get access to a lot of that funding. Agile Innovation Fund is one for if you're looking at driving any process improvement in your business. So your Digitisation Voucher might identify that there's a real opportunity for you to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of your business, to drive process improvement, to improve productivity. The Agile Innovation Fund can help you get funding towards implementing those process improvements. So it can include research and development, anything that's really going to help you drive your business forward. So really powerful, and there's significant funds available to businesses through that fund. And this is a climate action voucher from Enterprise Ireland. So 2 days independent technical advisory services. So this is where you can get somebody to come in, identify the opportunities, and then you use some of the other grants and supports. If I look at I'll give a sort of an example. One of the businesses that we would have worked with Agile through, originally they would have been a Mentors Work, where they would have got mentoring through the SFA program. They then went through a business planning grant through Enterprise Ireland. And then on the back of that, we were able to help them get grants through various sources of about 300,000. This is a business that had been operating for 30 years, never had got grants before. And in an 18-month period, then we're able to get 300,000 in grants to support their business in moving forward, and cheap funding as well on the back of developing the business plan. So others, again, Green Start, another Enterprise Ireland, so cost of environmental consultant. So as I mentioned, lots going on in the green space. Another green support. I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's just giving you an example of the amount of support, particularly in the. This is the one, so significant, up to 150,000 potentially available for particularly large projects. So anything in the business innovation space in particular. Intertrade Ireland, often an organisation that's maybe overlooked from a grants point of view, but if you're looking at doing any business in the north of Ireland, Intertrade Ireland is specifically set up to help help businesses in the north trade in the south and vice versa. So really supportive organisation, and lots of different supports that are available. So there's obviously the Brexit, obviously seen as a key issue, but the others to help you, help you do research into the northern market, so fully funded grant to research market opportunities for you in the north, and then support for towards a sales resource. So acumen can be 50% support towards a sales resource to focus on the north, to help you grow your business. So again, really powerful and lots of opportunities on the island. So exporting doesn't have to mean you going over to the UK or mainland or into Europe. You can get support to get into the north. So that's very much a whistle-stop tour. Sven, as I said, there's a full hour presentation that we have, but I thought I'd just focus in on some of the key grants that are there. But as I said, I think Mentors Work, the program that you guys support and fund, is a great way for people to engage and set up a 15-minute call with me. I'd be happy to do that and maybe help them identify specific grants that are them and relevant to them.
Thank you so much, Tony. Really an impressive overview of what's available in a post-COVID world. So what I see there emerging is three headings: digital, but Duncan, we probably need a chat about, is this sufficient? What's out there? Does there need to be more on offer? Green, obviously, and not only in terms of shopping local, but the number of supports available in the green space. You really need somebody signposting all of those and pointing in the right direction, because there seems to be a lot going on in this space. And then everything in relation to innovation and export, we just have to see the relevance from a retail perspective. Obviously, retail is innovative, but we just have to see, is there anything specifically from within those funds that can be used by the retail sector as well. So just, I don't know, Duncan, any observations on your side?
Yeah, look, I think it's useful. I think, and I think it's a really good opportunity now. That's sort of snapshot of as the government supports drop off, what is now available. And I think Tony's gone through that. There is just this one piece that keeps coming back to me, and that's around the green piece and the sustainability piece and what's actually out there. And so there's a few thoughts on that. I think one is there are a lot of toolkits available around sustainability, you know, to whether it be just how, you know, how much am I conserving energy, you know, what do I need to do in order to make to save myself in that sort of space. I was on a call yesterday. There's an enterprise forum, and one of the things that was mentioned was that a lot of these toolkits aren't being used particularly widely. And I think, you know, so there's a resource there. Go in, have a look at what you need to be doing sustainably with these toolkits, and just, you know, work out how they might, how going more sustainable might benefit your business is number one. Number two, along with Champion Green, we've been working with a lady called Sharon Urell around a survey on sustainability, which is out there at the moment aimed at retailers, really just to sort of try and get an understanding of where retail is at in that sustainability space, yeah, because it's massive. You know, everybody's talking about it, and yet, you know, it's mind-boggling in terms of where you start. So I would urge everybody on this call that's thinking about how sustainable they are, download that survey. It's available on the certainly on the Champion Green website and through ourselves in Retail Excellence. Just fill that out and just try and get a handle on where you are in sustainability terms and what the future might look like. Because we certainly want to get a bit of a benchmark, and then we want to put some guidelines in place for businesses for the future. So that's another big one, I think, that's you know, really needs to be looked at. And there's plenty of, as Tony said, there's plenty of stuff there to be delving into in that space.
Brilliant. And Tony, you have kindly agreed to making yourself available to any questions that might be coming from our participants this morning afterwards, and that you'll have a chat with them for 15 minutes. And as you said, Mentors Work is always there to support as well. So we're just in the process of rolling out the next phase of Mentors Work, and we're open for applications as we speak on the mentorswork.ie website. Tony, any last words from you? Any observations?
Yeah, I think you mentioned there that the three headings. I think the innovation, and particularly like the Agile Innovation Fund and other funds, you know, can tie in with the digitisation. So whereas the digital voucher is maybe 9,000, if that identifies a real opportunity, you know, for somebody, there is additional funds available, and you know, the business expansion grants as well. So while the specific digitisation ones may be, you know, at 2,500 for the trading online voucher, if it's really seen as being key and really opens up opportunities, and this comes back to looking at your plan, there are other funds available. And if you position it that digital is a key element to how you can be innovative and how you can drive your business, and particularly if that sort of interface or that combined digital physical presence gives you, you know, that opportunity to expand and particularly go international, there is, you know, opportunity in that space, and it ticks all the boxes. Then it ticks digital, it ticks innovation, it ticks champion, you know, the green agenda as well. So it's key in these things that if you are is building relationships. If you can build a relationship with your local enterprise office, with Enterprise Ireland, whoever's your appropriate, you know, body, they can generally find ways as well of helping you. That's their role, is to support. Sometimes people don't think there's significant support and funds available. I think we're very lucky in Ireland compared to other countries with the supports, and the people are generally very supportive. So I'd say is try and identify where those opportunities are and build those relationships.
Just to say that we will post your presentation, Tony, on the Champion Green website with your contact details for any questions that participants may have. Thank you for joining us today, and a huge thank you to our panel, Tony Dignam and Duncan Graham. We'll see you again next month for more practical business advice, new webinars, and in the meantime, stay in touch at championgreen.ie. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.